Welcome back to my next playthrough series. This time we're going to be taking on Hans in Final Girl. This is a pretty cool solo game. I just got it recently. This will be my first play of it, so I seriously hope I don't make too many errors. I have everything set up. There is a bunch of random setup cards which tell you how to set up the board, which we'll zoom in here in a second. And yes, I do have the miniatures as well because they are actually pretty cool. The game itself is actually pretty small, but doesn't take up a lot of table space, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, everything has been set up. If you want to see how to set up, watch Rodney Smith's How to Play this game, Final Girl, and he goes through everything to do with the setup. I'm probably just we're gonna zoom down. We're gonna be playing with Laurie. This is Camp Happy Trails and against Hans, and we'll take a look at the items that we can find in either the cabins, the dock, the utility shed. We'll take a look at the cards we can purchase for time. The time mechanic is really cool in this game, and we have a bunch of levels at Hans. He has a couple of cards here that you randomly put down. At the beginning of the game, he's got 12 health, which is a lot because we're supposed to take him out if we can. And then we have a special token here for a very final hit point. And some of them are blank. If you get down to your final hit point and get wiped out, you're dead. If you get to this one and you flip it over and it's got some heart symbols on it, you spring back to life in typical horror game fashion. So let's take a quick look at Laurie, and we'll look at the horror track, and we'll take a look at her starting cards. Explain a little bit about how things happen. The actual horror board itself has the turn order, and so we're going to be just going turn after turn after turn. We're trying to rescue the yellow meeples here, which represent the victims, get them off the board, level up our hero if we can, finally take Hans down, or die trying. That's the game. So let's take a quick look at Laurie and the horror track. Alright, so here we have the horror track, and I also put the back of the rule book here as well because we can quickly go over all the symbols. So our final girl, Laurie, here has 5 health, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the final health is one of these randomly selected tokens. I don't know what's on the back of it. We start here, we'll look at the Hans sheet here in a second. Hans basically starts the horror at 4, and that's his face mask symbol up on his board, so that's where that starts. We have 6, you can see the blue marker on time. Time is important in the game. So Laurie has a bunch of things on her card here. It's basically when we rescue people, we start putting the tokens on here, and as you put the rescued victim tokens on here, you start doing these things. So you can gain 2 time, get a life back, reduce the horror by 1, get 2 time, take an action card, maximum of 2 time. We'll look at the action cards and move a space. So, and when this is totally filled up with rescued victims, we can flip over and she gets her special bonus. So there we go. So that's what we're trying to do, kind of, as well as staying alive as well. Of course, we start off with 6 basic cards. They all have this 0 time symbol. So we have like a couple of walks, we have a short rest, we have focus, and weak attack. And these have to do with rolling dice. And as you can see right now, we're in the sort of white zone. We're rolling 2 dice, and the dice look like this. They have 1 and 2 on them. The 3s and 4s have a double card symbol. If this comes up, you can discard 2 cards from your hand to make this a success. And the 5s and 6s have stars on them, which means they're successes. And so if you look at some of the cards, so if you get a success, 1 success here, you can move up to 1 space, but you lose a time. And if you get 2 successes for walk, you can move up to 2 spaces and lose time. So that's kind of how the cards work, how things work here. If you get all the way to the bottom of this track, and you have to move farther down, then the bloodlust goes up, which is not bad. So how do we play the game? So first off, we have an action phase. We play action cards. And so by playing cards, we just roll dice and do what it says. And of course, the penalties for if you get no successes, and on and on. So if we can take a short rest, we can walk, we can focus, we can do all these things. To start with, that's our starting hand. We're going to look at the other cards here in a second. All right, and so that would be playing cards. And then we have the planning phase. We purchase action cards, reset the time to 6, and return played action cards. So to purchase action cards, we're going to use this track. Whatever's left over here, we can use the time here to purchase cards, which we'll look at here in a second. Then we get to the killer phase. We resolve the killer action, what he's doing, and then we're going to draw a terror card. We have 10 of them randomly selected, and they're all shuffled and put in a pile. Then we have the panic phase. If a victim was killed this turn anywhere on the board, then all the victims in the killer space panic. So we roll the die and see where they move to. Then we have the upkeep phase reveal the finale if no terror cards are left, okay? Or if there are terror cards, you don't do that. And then we rearrange items. And we see here you have 2 hand spaces. So we can use 2 single hand items or a double hand item. In the backpack, you can fit as many things as you like. So only during that phase can you do this, or when you grab a card from one of the locations. And I'm not going to go over all these symbols, but then it's handy on the back of the book because it tells you what you can do with your action cards. You can resolve the action on a card. You can convert, like I showed you on the die, the 3 or 4 by discarding 2 cards to get a success. Or you could discard any 1 card to get 1 more time, which could be useful as well. And again, I'm not going to go over all these symbols, but it is nice and handy right on the back of the rulebook. I'll keep that close by so I can keep track of what's going on. Let's take a quick look at the Hans card, then we're going to look at the Camp Happy Trails board and the items we can find in certain locations. And here we have Hans. He's a nasty little boy, and he's got his, of course, his pig mask on and his smock there for, for blood splatter. So he's got his 12 health. We've got 11 tokens, plus he has his final token. And he's got his bloodlust track starting here down at the bottom. And this means for every boot symbol that comes up on a terror card, he's going to move 1 space. As you see, you get farther up the track, he's going to be moving 2 spaces and possibly 3. And when he gets to here, we reveal a dark power, which is right here. It's randomly selected, and that's going to give him a special ability. And when we get to the very when we run out of terror cards, there's 10 of them. When we don't have 1 at the end of this turn there, during the panic phase, then we're going to flip over his top card, and that's going to tell us what he does every single turn. So there you have it. All right, let's take a quick look at Camp Happy Trails board itself and the items that are sitting in the 3 locations that we can get items from. And here we have Camp Happy Trails. The map itself, it's I can zoom down a little closer. We've got our setup here. We have Hans starting in this location. We have our final girl, Laurie, starting at the makeout point. And I'm not sure how quickly or how easily we can see these cards, but at the cabins, and the cabins are located right here, we have an aluminum bat, which we'll get into the details if and when we go there and collect it. And then at the dock, which is here, we have fireworks, and at the utility shed, which is right over here with this 1 victim, we have a whistle. So those are, of course, things we want to collect because they're going to help us out. And then we have our terror deck here. We also have an event deck, and we flipped 1 event card at the start of the game, and we ended up getting Star-Crossed Lovers, which is not an ongoing effect, not good. This with a kiss I die. When exactly 2 victims in space are in a space and 1 of them is killed, the other immediately dies as well. Oh boy, that is bad because we have 1, 2, we have 4 spaces with 2 in it, and then we have some tokens specific to this scenario. There's 6 of them, and we may or may not get into using them. Oh, good God. All right, so there's lots to be said. All right, let's take a look at the cards we can purchase, and then I think I'm going to leave it off here today, and when we come back tomorrow, we're going to start into our first turn and get things moving. All right, let's take a look at all the cards we can purchase. And again, we purchase cards with time, which is actually a really, really cool mechanic in this game. And here's all the cards we can purchase for time. We have Close Call for 1, we have Guard for 2, Search for 2, Sprint for 2, Improvise for 3, Distraction 3, Planning 4, Furious Strike 4, is getting very expensive, Retaliate 4, The Long Rest, getting lots of health back, costing 5, and the final Critical Blow, costing 6 time. Oh dear. All right, I think I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to wrap up today. It's kind of a setup and introduction to the game, and tomorrow we will start into the playthrough. And again, we'll see how it goes. I think it's a very, very difficult game to try to win. This is, of course, I think Camp Happy Trails is the easiest one. We'll see. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up here today as an introductory video. So this is Final Girl, and we're playing against Hans in Camp Happy Trails. Of course, there's a whole bunch. I think there's 6 now box sets. They come with 2 final girls in each box set. They each come with their own location, their own rules, their own killer. And I do believe once you have them all, you can mix and match anything you like. So you can have Hans being in a different scenario. You can use any of the final girls you want. So yeah, things can get pretty crazy. So thanks so much for watching along. Thanks for your comments, subscriptions, likes. This is Final Girl. We're playing Camp Happy Trails with Laurie, taking on Hans. Will we survive, or will we get slain? Boy, he's got a lot of hit points. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow for the continuation. Camp Happy Trails for Final Girl.